They were called the protectors of India. The Marathas ruled from the Deccan to Delhi. But in just a few decades, the British East India Company, a trading company, broke their power, crushed their spirit, and rewrote history. How did it happen? Today, we dive deep into the Anglo-Maratha Wars, the real story of how the British destroyed the mighty Maratha Empire. Hello everyone, welcome to Career Capsule. Let's understand how British destroyed Maratha Empire and about 3 Anglo-Maratha Wars as well. Let's rewind to the mid-18th century. After the fall of the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb in 1707, India was in chaos. But out of that chaos, a new power emerged, the Marathas. Under leaders like Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, they had built a fierce warrior empire rooted in guerrilla tactics, fast-moving cavalry, and deep public support. By the 1740s and 50s, the Marathas were the strongest native force in India, controlling almost 2/3 of the subcontinent. However, in 1761 came the devastating blow, the Third Battle of Panipat. Fought between the Marathas and Ahmad Shah Abdali, the Third Battle of Panipat was a catastrophic defeat for the Marathas. Their massive army was crushed, leading to over 100,000 casualties. Though the empire survived and recovered quickly, the seeds of future troubles were sown. Internal divisions, weakened leadership, and a long list of enemies. Meanwhile, on the sidelines, another force was gathering, the British East India Company. Originally just traders, after the Battle of Plassey in 1757, they had started behaving like rulers. They controlled Bengal, minted their own money, and had a professional army. And they had one major advantage. While Indian kingdoms fought among themselves, the company fought only to expand. Divide and conquer wasn't just a strategy, it was their religion. The First Anglo-Maratha War started not because of British ambition, but because of a Maratha civil war. Peshwa Madhavrao I had rebuilt Maratha strength after Panipat, but after his death, there was chaos everywhere. His brother Narayana Rao was murdered. His uncle Raghunath Rao wanted to be Peshwa and in desperation asked the British for help. The British saw a golden opportunity. They signed the Treaty of Surat in 1775, promising Raghunath Rao military support in exchange for massive territorial concessions. But they underestimated Maratha unity. Mahaji Shinde, also called Mahaji Scindia, and the Maratha Confederacy fought fiercely. After several battles, the British realized they were stuck in a costly war. Finally, in 1782, they signed the Treaty of Salbai, accepting defeat. The Marathas had won, but it was a short-lived victory. Fast forward 20 years. The British were no longer just a regional player. After defeating Tipu Sultan in the south and Mysore falling, they had now turned their eyes towards the Marathas again. This time, it was internal rivalry again that invited disaster. The Maratha Empire had broken into 5 major factions: Peshwa in Pune, Scindias in Gwalior, Holkars in Indore, Bhonsales in Nagpur, Gaikwads in Baroda. In 1802, the Holkars defeated the Peshwa Baji Rao II at the Battle of Poona. Humiliated, Baji Rao II turned to the British for help, just like Raghunath Rao earlier. He signed the infamous Treaty of Bassein, 1802. Under this, the Peshwa became a virtual British puppet, accepting British troops, political advisors, and interference. Other Maratha leaders like Scindia and Bhonsale saw this as treachery. War broke out. Battle of Assaye, 1803. Fought during the Second Anglo-Maratha War, the Battle of Assaye was a major victory for British commander Arthur Wellesley. Despite being outnumbered, the disciplined British-led forces defeated the Maratha army under Scindia, marking a turning point that demonstrated British military superiority in India and boosting Wellesley's military reputation. Battle of Argaon and Gawilgar, 1803. This battle saw British forces under Wellesley defeating the combined Maratha forces of the Bhonsales. Taking place near the village of Argaon in Maharashtra, it was a swift and decisive encounter that forced the Bhonsales to retreat, eventually leading to the fall of their key stronghold, Gawilgar. Battle of Gawilgar, 1803. Following the Battle of Argaon, British troops laid siege to the Maratha fortress of Gawilgar. Despite its strong natural defenses, the fort fell after a fierce assault. This victory marked the end of Bhonsale resistance during the Second Anglo-Maratha War and further cemented British control over central India. Battle of Laswari 1803. Fought in present-day Rajasthan, the Battle of Laswari was a crushing defeat for Scindia's army. British General Gerard Lake led the assault, resulting in the loss of nearly all Maratha artillery. The battle significantly weakened Scindia's military capacity, effectively ending his resistance against British dominance in northern India. By the end of the Second Anglo-Maratha War, the Marathas had lost most of their territories outside their core regions. Their power was crippled but not completely destroyed. The final nail in the coffin came in 1817. Britain had grown impatient. After defeating Napoleon in Europe, they turned their full attention back to India. Peshwa Baji, now frustrated at being a British puppet, secretly tried to unite the Maratha chiefs one last time. But the company was ready. They launched preemptive strikes against every major Maratha power. Battle of Khadki near Pune. This battle initiated the Third Anglo-Maratha War. Fought near Pune, the British East India Company forces defeated the Peshwa's army under Baji II. Despite fierce resistance, the British prevailed due to better artillery and training, forcing the Peshwa to flee and signaling the beginning of the Maratha Empire's collapse. Battle of Sitabuldi near Nagpur. A pivotal encounter during the Third Anglo-Maratha War. It was fought between the British and Bhonsale forces near Nagpur. The British, though heavily outnumbered, defended their position on the Sitabuldi hills. Their victory was critical in breaking Bhonsale resistance and securing British dominance in central India. Siege of Assaye Fort. Assaye Fort, the last major Maratha stronghold under Scindia, was besieged by the British after the fall of other Maratha factions. After a prolonged siege, the fort was surrendered. Its fall symbolized the final collapse of Maratha military resistance, completing the British conquest of India's heartland. By early 1818, it was over. The Peshwa surrendered. He was pensioned off to Bithur near Kanpur. The Maratha Confederacy was dismantled. India's political center shifted permanently into British hands. So why did one of the mightiest Indian empires fall to a foreign trading company? Internal rivalries. The Maratha chiefs were too divided. Underestimation of British power. They kept thinking the British were still traders. Treaty of Bassein. A blunder that gave Britain the perfect excuse to interfere everywhere. Superior British military tactics, professional armies, better training, artillery and logistics. Company's ruthlessness. Divide and conquer was pursued ruthlessly and intelligently. The story of the Marathas is a tragic one, full of courage, betrayal, ambition and missed opportunities. Had they stayed united, history might have been very different. The Anglo-Maratha Wars weren't just battles. They were the slow bleeding out of India's last great indigenous empire. And they remind us, divisions among ourselves are the biggest gifts we can ever give to an enemy. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Indian history, please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay curious, stay proud.